everybody, this is Shraddha and welcome to my channel Astral Empire. In today's video, we'll be talking about the number symbolism in tarot. Now, when you look at the tarot cards, they all have numbers on it except for the court cards and the aces. Now, do these numbers really have a significance? Yes, they do, because there is nothing in tarot which is out of place. So, here begins the interplay between numerology and between tarot. So in today's video, we'll be looking at the number symbolism. We'll also be looking at a lot of aspects in the major and the minor arcana as well. And in my previous videos, I've also covered some of the common elements and common symbols that we find in tarot. And I've also dealt with the color symbolism, so do check that out. And for today, let's get into the video. Now, if I had to ask you, like, from which number does the number sequence begin? Like, or very randomly, it's like number 1. But actually in tarot, our sequence begins with 0. And 0 is one of the very important numbers that we have, and it's also one of the biggest inventions in history. Now, what is 0? 0 is, the seed. It is the first step, even before the first step. So it is that unshaped, unformed potential. It is a blank canvas. It is, something which is before everything else. The seed yet has to be sprouted. The egg yet has to be hatched. So it is basically at that step. And now when we look at our fool is also numbered as 0. And why is it numbered as 0? Because our fool is completely a blank canvas. That is my power. It is a blank canvas. It is yet waiting to explore the world. It is yet waiting for experiences to happen so that, it can shape this unshaped potential as yet. And therefore our fool is denoted by the number 0. Now, how do we calculate the numbers? Now, in the major arcanas, we've got 22 cards, which is 0 to 21. So, all the singular numbers, which is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, are calculated singly. And when we look at the double numbers, that means 10 to 21, we calculate each digit. So, 10 becomes 1 plus 0 becomes 1. Then you have like 14 is 1 plus 4 becomes 5. You have 21, 2 plus 1 becomes 3. Now, what about the minor arcanas? The minor arcanas, the calculation is a little different because the minor arcanas also has the court cards. So, 1 to 10 is denoted by numbers, but the court cards do not have the number. Okay, so when you're looking at 1 to 9 is single, 10 is 1 plus 0 is equal to 1, and court cards are basically personalities, so they are not numbered. So, these personalities I will be covering in my next video. In order to interpret the cards in its numerological context, it is also important to know the elements of the suits to which it belongs. Now, in the minor arcana, we've got like 4 suits: the wands, cups, swords, and pentacles. Now, the aces that you see, they all represent number 1, and number 1 is ruled by the sun. It suggests new beginnings, opportunities, new hopes, new wishes, new desires. So, it is the start of something new. It has a lot of potential. It is all about optimism as well. Now, the wands represents the fire element. So, when you combine the element of fire, it is your passion, it is your energy. So, it could also be that, it is some new enthusiastic venture that you're starting out. So, it is that potential that you have which needs to come to fruition, which you need to still explore. So it is your inner drive. It is maybe also, a strong determination to start a new business or to start a new job. Now, the cups represents the water element. Now, water is all about, emotions. It is your feelings, your wishes. So they're all these softer aspects. Now, when you combine it with the ace, it signifies the start of a new relationship. It could also be your intuition. It is telling you to nudge into your intuition or your intuitive powers as well. It is also to do with pregnancy, creativity. So these are the aspects that are denoted by the Ace of Cups. Now, the swords represents the air element. And what is it? It is all about your intellect, your decision-making skills, the clarity of your thoughts. So these are the kind of aspects that you can expect from the swords suit. And it can also be a new idea that you're coming through. It is also telling you to cut the confusion through the sword. So the sword is telling you to cut through all the doubts and illusions, confusions that you have. It is also nudging you to become a little more decisive, take a strong decision as well. Now, the pentacles represents the earth element. It is all about stability, about your finances, practicality. It is also a start of a new inflow of money or maybe a new property. It can also be the start of a new job with potential to bring in, generate new income for you. A new study course can also be denoted. So this study, which is actually going to fetch you more benefits in terms of cash, in terms of money. So it is going to get you maybe into a new career, which is getting you the money into it. Now in a major arcana, we see that the magician, the wheel of fortune, which is the number 10, which is 1 plus 0 is equal to 1, and the sun, which is 19. So 1 plus 9 is equal to 10, which again reduces to 1. So these are the cards which are denoted by the number 1. Now the magician feels that he has all the potential in the world. So it is a card of manifestation, and he is here to actually put his mind into achieving everything that he wants. So it's a very strong and a very, very positive card. And he is using his manifestation for a new journey, to begin a new start. Now all the elements, the cups, the swords, the pentacles, the wands, they are there at his table. So that means that he has all the potential, he has all the resources within him to create whatever he desires. Now the wheel of fortune signals the beginning of a new cycle. It is possibly even a karmic cycle. Now whether this cycle is going to be good, whether the cycle is going to be bad, it is all going to depend on the supporting cards. Number 2 is denoted by the moon. So it is your intuition, it is balance, choices, duality. Now when you look at the high priestess, she is a spiritual soul, and she is sitting between two pillars, that is Boaz and Hagen. And she has to make a choice. So she is also going to be, not in this dual state of mind, but she's going to be weighing all her options. She's going to be weighing her pros and cons, and only then making a decision, only then going in with her intuition. Even when you look at the justice cards, there are scales. So even here, he has to be making a choice. He has to pronounce his final verdict, but he will use it through his wisdom. He'll use it through his good judgment, and only then he will pronounce his verdict. And when you also look at the figures in the judgment card also has a choice over here. So these figures have a choice whether they want to come out clean, they want to rectify their past mistakes, they want to start a new lease of life. So it is basically rebirth. So they have this choice, and this is going to be their last final chance at rectifying and fixing those issues, and then restarting and having a rebirth figuratively. And even when you look at the protagonists of the Two of Wands, the Swords and the Pentacles, they also have to be making choices where there appears to be a romantic union which is there in the Two of Cups, and this is a very harmonious union. So it's like that soulmate kind of energy over here. So here is where you've got the Two of Cups, and it is basically the sharing of the cups between the couple. So it is sharing your emotions, your feelings, and it's a very harmonious union between the two. Now 3 is represented by the planet Jupiter, and Jupiter is Guru. It is the teacher. It is symbolic for knowledge, creativity, self-expression, for expansion. Now when you look at our Empress, she is that creative, self-expressive person. The Hanged Man mythologically refers to Odin, who sacrificed his eye for knowledge and for wisdom. When you look at the World card, now the World card is actually the culmination of the Fool's journey, the knowledge, wisdom that he got through the entire journey. And I'll also be linking my video wherein I've spoken a little more in detail about the Fool's journey, so do check that video as well. Now when you look at the minor arcanas, you see the expansion of business through the Three of Wands. You see the celebration of success through the Three of Cups, the sharing of knowledge through the Three of Pentacles, and you also have the Three of Swords, which is the knowledge of maybe a hurtful truth. So all these aspects are reflected through the minor arcanas. Now 4 is represented by the shadow planet Rahu, which is the north node of the moon, and it represents structure, stability, boundaries, limitations. Now when you actually look at the major arcana, you look at the Emperor first. He is the archetype for being the stickler to rules, structures, traditional patterns. Now death comes to wash away all the defunct structures and establish a new order that is much more stable. And the minor arcanas, the Four of Wands also shows stability. Possibly, there is a celebration. It looks like marriage. So this is actually built on a very stable and a very solid foundation. Being bound by a limited outlook through the Four of Cups, our reluctance to let go of fear of losing stability through the Four of Pentacles. The Knight in the Four of Swords has decided to take a break and establish some balance and stability in the ongoing chaos. So here is how we see the interplay of stability, limitations through the number 4 in the tarot cards. Now number 5 is represented by Mercury. And what is Mercury? It's fast, mercurial, impulsive. It's very fast. You know, that word speed is associated with Mercury. And Mercury brings with it communication, instability, challenges, conflicts. Now here we see a contrast between the major arcanas and the minor arcanas. In the major arcanas, it is a positive aspects of 5, while the minor arcanas, they show the negative aspects of it. The Hierophant, a spiritual teacher, and the angel in the Temperance, they are both channels to relay the messages from the divine, communicators between man and God. Now through the 5 of Wands and the Swords, very visibly we see arguments, conflicts, difference of opinions, breakdown of communication. We also see the internal conflicts and imbalance of thoughts in the 5 of Cups, the 5 of Pentacles, where the characters, they seem to be having like this internal kind of communication. It is more about, their situation, the state, their present state in life. It is more like, having this dialogue within themselves. It's like, why is this my fate and why do I have to go through this? And it's the feeling of feeling very miserable and very sorry about the situation. It's like, like beggarly kind of state, and they're having this conversation about their fate. 6 is represented by Venus, and Venus is the significator for luxury, for harmony, improvement. So we can see this in the Lover's card and in the 6 of Cups. And when we look at the 6 of Pentacles, we also see this very wise and supportive person who's, kind of doing some kind of charity towards the needy. So 6 is also the number of service. And when you look at the 6 of Wands, it is also earning you the recognition in public glare. When you look at the 6 of Swords, it is basically a transition. It is a transition from turbulent times, so you can actually see the wavy water. So it is moving from there to more peaceful times, to a better phase, which is through the serene waters. The Devil, on the other hand, it is also a number 6 because it is 15, so 1 plus 5 is 6, but it represents the negative aspect. So it is representing greed, it is representing lust, desires, which are toxic in nature, which are like addiction in nature. So it is the negative side of the beautiful Venus, which is 6. Now 7 is the number for the shadow planet Ketu, which is the south node of the moon. And it represents illusions, doubts, trials, reflection, analysis. Now the Chariot is telling you to free your mind of duality, make firm decisions and move ahead. The Tower is warning you not to live your life in an illusionary world, in your ivory tower, but to face reality. The 7 of Wands and Pentacles represents the trials. It is asking you to reflect on the progress, make necessary analysis for the deserved success. It is telling you to quieten the voice in your head and don't buckle down. The 7 of Swords is creating the mischief in your mind for trickery. The illusions, fantasies in the 7 of Cups is advising you to take a step back, to, don't rush into the moment, don't make a decision right now, take a pause, clear the confusion, and only when you're ready, make that decision. Now 8 is the number of Saturn, Shani. This is one of the most dreaded planets in astrology. It's like, when you have like Shani and Saturn, like people are like, oh my god, like, oh bapre, like Shani ki sadi sati, and Shani, oh no, it's like a little dreaded. But you know what Shani is? Shani is hard work, it is perseverance, it is having that strength which comes through the strength card. And it does want you to work hard, it does want you to put dedicated efforts, like sincere efforts, like the 8 of Pentacles, like just work, chisel your skills, refine your talent, and it does bring you rewards, and it brings you rewards like the 8 of Wands. So you put in the hard work, you put in that struggle. The 7 of Wands is again struggle. It is again, that perseverance, that don't give up, because the 8 of Wands is there, that success is there, it is there. But right now you just have to have that concentrated effort to just do it, and that is exactly what Saturn wants. Now, with the Eight of Swords is basically, you see a woman, you feel that, she's tied over here, but basically it is self-imprisonment. It is the imprisonment of your thoughts because it is swords. So, it is asking you to free yourself from these doubts, from these illusions that you've created for yourself. They are your own chains that you've put. So it is telling you to break away from all of this. And the Eight of Cups is telling you to move away from a situation. It's a very sad card. It is telling you to move away from a situation which is not working out for you. Like you've put in everything into that situation, but there is something which is still not there because there is one cup which is missing. That means one emotional element is still not there that you're wanting for. So it is telling you, leave it, go on a different path, make your own route. It is not going to be an easy journey. It is going to be a struggle, but there is success at the end of it, even though you don't see it right now. But just chart your way right now. Create your own path. It may look difficult. The rewards and the true essence of your soul is going to aim higher. It is the star card. It is going to lead you to that. So star is number 17, which is 8. So right now is struggle. It is perseverance. But with this, you will reach the star. Lovely message. Now 9 stands for that planet, that fiery planet of courage, which is Mars. But it is also a planet of selflessness, humanitarian. So 9 is also a selfless and a very humanitarian number as well. Now, when you look at the tarot cards, 9 also takes you towards closure, like the Hermit, the Moon. Now, these are the two characters which are also introspecting. Okay, so there is this kind of closure which they're finding in their thoughts, in their relationships. It may or may not be a very positive closure. Both the Hermit and the Moon, they're also selfless characters, but very likely that they have also been taken advantage of. So therefore there could be lack of support. There could be hidden enemies when both of these cards come. Now the 9 of Swords and Wands is also telling you to have courage to start afresh. Now when you look at the 9 of Wands, it is also reflecting on past hurts. So it is telling you, like, let go of it. Even the 9 of Swords, it is a card of stress. It is a card of not being able to sleep at night, of something tragic that has happened, or something which is disturbing you. So it is telling you to find the closure. It is telling you to have courage to let these nightmares just remain where they are. Like, don't think about it. Try to regain that strength in you and just move forward. Like the 9 of Cups and the 9 of Pentacles, you also find yourself selflessly sharing and giving your own with others. And just like when you multiply 9 with itself, so 9 times 1 is 9, 9 times 2 is 18, which again gives you 9, 9 times 3 is 27, which gives you 9 again. So in the similar way, even these characters, they know that even if they are going to give some amount of what they already have, it is only going to increase their productivity. So it is also a very selfless number. Now what is 10? 10 is a completion. If 9 is towards closure, 10 is basically completion. So it is an end and there is a beginning. Now when you look at the Wheel of Fortune, it is actually a karmic card and it is a karmic cycle. So, as you sow, so shall you reap. That is basically what it means. Also, it is telling you that if you have happy cards, if you have positive cards in support of your Wheel of Fortune, then you would be having, say, a better situation ahead. But if you're having a negative card, then brace yourself for like some kind of hardships along the way. So the main message over here is that if you're going to be having, like, say, positive and happy times, also remain grateful and remain grounded, because it's a cyclical nature, right? I mean, the Wheel of Fortune is cyclic. So today it may be a good day, tomorrow it may be a bad day, or today is a bad day, tomorrow may be a good day. So in both situations, try to remain grounded. When you're having a bad time, understand there are good times, but remain grateful for the good times that you're going to be receiving. When you are having a good time now, brace yourself, get that courage, get that strength, because you know that, you may be having like not so good days. So cherish your good days now, but brace yourself for tougher situations. Now the number 10, it also signifies defeats. But just like the flicker of the day through the darkness, as in the 10 of Swords, there is hope. There is hope that this flicker will also show you the sun again. because sun is 19, 1 plus 9 is equal to 10. Now, through the 10 of wands, you can feel a sense of extreme burden on your shoulders. You can no longer carry this. There is a realization that delegation is required. You also finally have to stop carrying this alone. Now, there is a sense of fulfillment, happiness, and family completion through the 10 of Cups and the Pentacles, which is very visible. It is like, my life is now complete. This is all that I've been working for, wishing for. All is well now. And this was my interpretation about numerology and the number symbolism in tarot. If you liked it and if you felt that it added some kind of value, do leave in your feedback, leave in your comments, and like, share, subscribe. I'll also be making another video which is going to be on the personalities and that. So until then, I'll see you. Happy learning. Take care. Bye. God bless.